Howdy folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. I really pruned the heck out of these tomatoes yesterday. They were really going crazy. And so I ran out here in between cloud bursters yesterday evening and got them pruned back. I'm having to heavily prune these because I did not realize when I planted these that celebrities and the golden sun ray, I think it is a determinate plant. And then I've never grown Romas before, but those are determinate plants as well. So the only non-determinate plant I ended up with is my cherry tomato. Thought about staking them, but I was like, I really want to keep them growing vertical as possible. I know they got to have some suckers, so I'm just tying strings on the extra sucker. Now this sucker's grown since yesterday. I'll probably have to put a string on him. But I'm just tying them up here, trying to keep them leaves pruned away from each other quite a bit so light can get down in the plant, air can get down into the plant. But they are very happy tomatoes. As you can see, they're producing tomatoes and setting fruit here. Each one of them has at least a couple set. I pruned all the suckers off that were below the first fruit set, which from what I've read is what you do with determinates. And then you have to let the suckers grow. Now these are celebrities, so even though they're determinate, they do continue to set fruit as long as the weather conditions and everything are favorable. But yeah, I mean, they're blooming all over. They're happy. So I hated to do that much pruning, but we got a big rainstorm and they survived it just fine. Normally I wouldn't want to take more than a few leaves a day off, but frankly things are growing so fast. These were actually much smaller yesterday. To give you an idea with all the rain that we're having, how much things are growing. This icebox watermelon, this vine, when I came out this morning and wrapped it up, the grow tip was right here. All of this, these leaves and this grow tip here, this is all new growth since this morning. This yesterday was barely able to touch the string, and you can see it's grown almost 8 inches in one day. This yesterday was about down to right here, and it's already grown up that much. So I am setting female flowers, and I'm sure I'm going to have some fruit on my cantaloupe, my cucumbers. So you can see I'm just getting little cucumbers, bigger cucumbers, and even bigger cucumbers. These are all pickling cucumbers. So that, another day or two, that one will be ready. And I'm setting a whole bunch at the same time down lower, especially, which is what I want if I'm going to be doing batches of pickles. The squash just have not been pollinating themselves. I went ahead and hand pollinated a couple today. I'm just not seeing the bees this year. I'm not seeing the bees this year that I've seen before. I think Monsanto is finally killing them off. But you can see with the size of my hand, of my hands, the size of them squash leaves. Happy squash. Again, I try to prune it. It grows back so fast. But I do two things. When the leaves get too far over that way towards the tomatoes, I'll prune it off. And anything down against the ground, I prune off. Then I also spray down around the vines with BT once a week to keep the vine borers away. Everything else is looking happy. I'm setting fruit. I'm doing good. The peppers are growing. Stuff's just growing like mad. But the one problem I have had is the thunderstorms that we have just about every night. We get all this heat and humidity, puts energy in the atmosphere. Start seeing dark clouds, and boom, get a big thunderstorm with a bunch of wind. But yesterday we had a big thunderstorm, and then it rained all night too. But those straight line winds is really tearing up my corn. So I went ahead and built this little windbreak. This is just some shade cloth I got. I'll put the link to the place down below. It's the place the LDS prepper recommended. And I bought some of the remnants. Now both remnants were supposed to be 10 feet. I hadn't really opened them both until now. So when they shipped these to me, they're supposed to send 2, they only sent 1. The one I got was 10 foot. The one they sent to replace it for the missing one was only 8. That's okay though, they were cheap. And so what I did is I just went ahead and took some burlap and put right here on the end. Now that does sacrifice some of the morning sun getting into the corn, but it'll have all the afternoon sun from the other direction. And for right now, while it's young, I think that's a small price to pay to keep them from getting blown over and destroyed. I'd rather have the protection. After we get, say, into halfway through July, the thunderstorms really kind of die down a little. I'll probably be able to take this down. And if I have too many problems, once they get a little taller, I'll wrap a string around them to help give them some support that way. The peas, I kind of expected they might be a little farther along by now, but they're growing. They're happy and they're growing. And it's pretty hot for them. We've had some real hot weather, and they normally like it a little cooler, so I'll see what they do. If I don't have success with these like I want, then next year I will plant them either earlier or later. But every year I garden, it's a learning experience. And what I like about the Mittleider is I have a set of rules to base that learning on. And then I can figure out what works best in my area and that kind of stuff. But the general laws and rules are there that you follow. So I just thought I'd show you that. That's how I did my, that doesn't completely surround them, but these straight line winds always come in from this direction, like towards the camera. So that will stop them from blowing right directly across the bed and blowing the corn over. A couple of these got blown over already. I went ahead and mounted some dirt up around them and propped them back up, and they're doing okay. But you can only do that to a young plant so many times, and it's going to die on you. So I would like to have some corn. My corn last year all got blown over and destroyed. So I'd like to have a corn crop for a change. I still got some strings that are all out of order here. I need to tighten those up a little so that they'll stay in order. But I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. Everything's doing good. I'm real happy. I mean, you can just see the cucumbers and stuff hanging in there. Tomatoes. So it's going to be a good harvest. And this time of year, things are just growing. Let me tell you. Last year we had so much rain and such cooler weather that I didn't have tomatoes till very late in the season. I'm hoping to have some earlier ones this year, if possible. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. I just wanted to show you mostly just my windbreak that I made to help protect these plants a little bit from the wind. And I just took a piece of, I'll show you what I did here too. Wait. I just took some of the poly twine that I use, put a cheap piece of scrap wood up, put a screw in it, tied it. Then I came down here, I wrapped it around, over and under, pulled it tight, and then just another piece of scrap wood on this end, and tied it off real tight. And then just put my shade cloth over it. I doubled it up, folded it over at the bottom, and just put some heavy stuff on it to hold it in place. That's just stuff I had laying around. I didn't feel like going and spending any money, because it is 2 days before payday, so I don't really have any money to spend. But that's it for now, folks. Just to show you, my highest bean now is right here. If you can see him. So he's right up at the wire. Wow. They weren't that high yesterday. My highest bean yesterday was like right in here, and now they're all the way up. That's crazy how fast those are growing. Now I'm just ready for some beans. Okay, that's it, everybody. Be happy and frugal out there.